So big thank you to your response yesterday, and I'm really glad that you guys really want to see how this card is made. You will be amazed how simple it is. Now I've run out of this particular paper, but I'm going to show you how to make the same design with a few different things. So if you don't have this paper, don't sweat it. Just use any old sheet that is in your stash. So first things first, you are going to need your trimmer and a nice pretty piece of 12 by 12 pattern paper. What we're going to do with our pattern paper is cut it in down to 14.8 centimeters, and that is going to make this strip tall enough to fit on your card base. Now if you haven't learned how to make a card base, I do have a video that shows you how to make this. One sheet of A4 paper will give you 2 of these card bases. So I've got one piece that's 14.8 centimeters. I'm going to turn it around so I've got that nice edge and I'm only really trimming one edge. Now you can use this little strip or you can throw it away. It's entirely up to you. What we're going to then do is actually cut these strips down into 2-inch strips, and by doing that you're actually going to get 6 cards from one strip and 6 from the other, so you can actually make a set of 12 cards, which is great. If you made up 12 sets of 12 cards, you would easily have enough to make up great bundles of 10 and give as gifts, and it means you'll always have a card on hand. So there we go, I've cut that up so we've got all these little strips, and let's move on. So what I've done is to the back of the pattern paper I've applied 3 strips of double-sided tape. Now if you've got a tape roller you could use that as well, and I'm just going to take that strip and apply it, just matching it up nice and straight at the top, onto the front of the card base. So we've got our lovely pattern paper on our card. The next step is really easy. I went down to my local dollar shop and I bought a big packet of paper doilies. Now essentially these were 1 cent each. Absolutely amazing. And for this card we're only using a half a doily, which is even more amazing. It's costing you a ½ cent for your doily. Now thankfully we've got a nice even number of scallops, so I'm just going to cut between this scallop up into the next one, and that's cut my doily exactly in half. And we're just going to take a little bit of double-sided tape, or you could use a roller, or you could use a glue stick even if you want to, and just apply a little bit of tape to just some key points, definitely in the middle and these 3 points around here. Keep in mind that your paper doily is a little bit more fragile than your pattern paper. Sometimes they just fall apart. Thankfully they're ½ cent each, so it's not a big drama. You can throw out the occasional one if it has got a few faults. So I've got my lovely sticky doily. I am just going to line that up pretty much in the middle and stick it down. So there we've got our card almost finished. The last embellishment here is I'm taking these gorgeous little silver hearts from Little TT's Trims and More, and I'll put a link up to them. These are so affordable, and they just come in these great big long lengths. But what we're going to do is we're just going to trim off the little threads that hold the length together, trim that up, make it nice and neat. I'm going to take some of my Tombow mono adhesive. I love this glue, it sticks everything to everything. Use the fine end, just put a little bit of glue on the back and add our embellishment. These come in a whole bunch of different designs as well, so make sure you check those out. Next we're going to do the greeting. So here's the ingredients I'm using for the greeting. I've got some scrap cardstock, I've got my Stampin' Up! Chocolate chip. You can use any kind of ink pad you like for this one. I like a raised dye ink pad, it just dries a little bit faster, but if you're embossing, one of the nice squishy ones will do a good job. I've just got some scrap white cardstock here that my daughter's cut a whole bunch of stuff out of. Got my acrylic block, and I've got my stamp set. This is a darkroom door, all occasions, and this has pretty much every single greeting in here you could ever want, and they are Australian, so mum is spelt M-U-M, mum. So for our our greeting today, we might, since we've got a love heart and it's nice and demure, we might do a little thinking of you stamp. I think that might be really nice. I use this one quite a bit actually. So I'm going to take out my stamp, pop it on my block. Yes, I know it's a bit of a big block, but I'm just using what I've got to hand today. I'm going to ink this up, and of course if you're making the full set of 12 cards, ink it up and stamp it out 12 times. Why not? If I do it this way, it means I can do a big long strip of them, and we can just cut out the strip and cut them all apart. It's like making your own word strip really, which is pretty cool. And here we go, I've got a whole strip. I misstamped one, so I've just stamped an extra one. And pretty much all I have to do now is line these up on my trimmer and cut them all out. And I will have enough greetings for this entire set of 12 cards. Now, you might be wondering, what am I going to do with 12 identical cards? Don't sweat it. Make them up into packs and give them as a gift. And if you made a whole bunch of packs, you could put in one of each, or put a different greeting on every one. So the design might be the same, but you'll have different greetings. So the next thing is I've got some cardstock. Now, if I run out of this and there's not enough, it doesn't matter. I'll just find something else in my stash. I could just stick that on there, but what I am going to do is take my ink pad and I'm just going to swipe it around the edges. I know, it just gives it a little bit more oomph, a little bit more detail. And take a little bit of double-sided tape, grab some scissors, pop a bit of tape at each end. I actually think I might trim that because it's a little bit uneven. See how you can just change things as you go along? It's no big deal. There's no rules, there's no scrapbooking police or card making police coming to check that you're doing it right. You just do it because it's fun. Okay, so I've got a couple of bits of double-sided tape on there, so I'll just pull those backings off. And then I'm going to pop it on this piece of basil cardstock that I've got here. And trim that one. You can use your trimmer or you can use your craft knife, it's entirely up to you. So there we have our little greeting. I'm going to pop my trimmer down, and I think this time I'm going to use some double-sided foam tape. So I'll pop a couple of pieces of that on the back. Oops. Of the cardstock there. Actually might throw another piece in the middle just so it doesn't, you know, buckle. Take off the backing, and this way our greeting will pop up. We've got a little bit of dimension with that lovely silver heart, but this way it'll really pop. And there we go, we pop our greeting on down here. I'm going to center it over this strip of card. Doesn't matter if it goes a bit over the doily. And there we have it. We have a really quick, simple, this is a lovely soft feminine card, but of course if you want to make this a little bit more bold, if you've got a cricket, if you've got the beautiful darkroom door doily stamps or a doily die, go nuts, make them in any color you like. Take an ink pad and ink up one of these, make them bright, make them cheerful, use whatever is going to go with the pattern paper that you have to hand. I really hope you give this a go. Let me know if you do, and I would love to see a picture. Thank you so much for watching, and happy card making.